what does being a black father mean to me?
What's being a father mean to me?
What does being a father mean to me?
What does being a father mean to me?
It means everything, and I know that's very cliche to say.
Like you stated, it's everything. Being a father is something that is not always portrayed in the most positive light, especially being a black father. And right now, this is something that we feel like, hey, there are a lot of us out here who's really, just really hands-on with their children. So, I decided to just get a couple brothers together that I know that are super hands-on with their children. And to be honest, I could have done this with about 20 different men. Being a dad isn't a glamorous job. It is something that, we want praise for. This is something that we are supposed to do. We're supposed to be a part of our children's lives and give them the knowledge and the information that we received or that we learned throughout our lives. So going through life, building with other like-minded men, and then gathering that information as a man, as a black father, and passing that information that's proper, that's going to help our children in growth, is pivotal in our life. So like I just really wanted to get these brothers together and just get their perspective on what they thought a black father should be, or what the misconceptions of life are and how they navigate them. So with these men, these black fathers, you're gonna learn something different throughout this documentary that I hope you could take with you. As I narrate and navigate through, you'll learn more about me and my dynamic with my family as well. And we're gonna process this together as a team. Let's get things started and let's go forth with understanding and learning and guidance. We're just black fathers. Don't exclude us, include us.
My name is Adrain Seawell. I'm 52, and I have a combined family. I have 5 kids combined. One from my first wife, and my second wife has 4. So I'm a father of 5 and a grandfather of 1. Okay, so my influences leading up to fatherhood, just watching my father. My dad was a man that led by example. Just seeing him get up every morning, man, and just make it happen. He wasn't a hands-on father, but he was a provider. So he was that influence of don't talk about it, be about it. So my dad was that type of guy, and I know that's where I got it from for my kids. I lead by example.
Johnathan Coley, and I'm a father of 3 boys. What were my influences leading up to me having kids? I can say it started with my grandfather. And just watching my grandfather on my dad's side, he had 7 kids, 6 or 7 kids, I can't remember. Don't judge me on that. 6 or 7 kids, and just watching him, even with us, be active. And then my father was in the house, so I had that example there. And then, like in the neighborhood, it was different. Me in the neighborhood took on that role as fathers, in the neighborhood. So those are mine.
My name is Gerren Phips, and I have 4 kids, 2 stepkids, 2 biologicals, but there's no barrier. Or black fathers, stereotypes. That's what I hear. All I hear, what I hear is more of an emotional visual than anything. I think it's more like we don't get a good rap. When you hear black fathers, the first thing you hear is, or the first thing you ideally would think is deadbeat or the stigmas, the idea of we don't compare to other races of fathers. Like, for some reason, you can see a TV dad on TV, a white father, and they give him some version of great, background, whether it be occupation or whether it be by, I guess, recreations. They're great, after school special dads. But when you see black dads or black fathers on television, it's more of a, he just got out of jail, or he just got a, whatever, a bad situation, or he's getting into a bad situation. There's really no, how can I say? There's really no give me's for us, no breaks for us. I don't see too many positive black fathers, whether it be on television or whether it be the ideology of the black fathers being portrayed in the media.
So I am Jamal Williams, aka Rise Rashid, aka Coach Rise. I have 3 children, 2 girls, and 1 boy. The boy is in the middle. So pray for him, please. And yeah. Well, my first one was my father, man. My father, God rest his soul. His father passed at a very young age. Okay. Very, very young age. He married my mother. They had a number of children, like 10 children, but he also took care of a lot of other children. Even though he remained married to my mother, he and my mother took in a lot of children and helped. So I have 20 siblings that all I know them as are siblings, even though, some of them we don't even have the same mother and father. But my father, he was, man, when you talk to everybody, now that he's no longer here, when you talk to every one of his children, they talk about how we all had a personal one-on-one relationship with him. And out of 20 children, you think like, there's no way in the world you had a one-on-one personal relationship with all 20 of them. And each one of us feels like we had him to ourselves. And I mean, that just was, it's crazy to think back on, because when you're growing up during that, in that, you don't really know it. You know what I'm saying? You kind of spoiled in a way. You know what I mean? And yeah, between him and his older brother, who also passed, God rest his soul, my Uncle Man, those two together, man, were just amazing fathers. And I mean, they were such amazing fathers that when you talk to my cousins, they talk about how amazing their uncle was. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. And we say the same thing about our uncle, man. And yeah, and it's just crazy that he grew up without his father. He had a stepfather come in his life, but, sometimes that works out and sometimes it doesn't. But the way he became a father was just like, he was built and programmed to be that. So that was my inspiration and my blueprint, really. Taught me how to do everything I know how to do as a father.
What up? It's Lonique. Everybody call me La. Father of 3. Got a 20-year-old, 17-year-old, 15-year-old son. First 2 is daughters. Last one is son. How does my upbringing affect me being a father? That's a good question, man. My upbringing was kind of different when it came to that, because I had 2 different situations going on. I had my real dad, who was in the streets, drugs, pimping back in the 70s, this, that, and the third, running around New York, doing what he did. Always knew who he was always around, but he was in and out, you know what I mean? Going to jail, doing this, that, and the third, in the streets. By the time I was 6, my mom's remarried, so I had a stepfather that got up every morning, went to work, 9 to 5, came home, you know what I mean? Did those 2 things. So I had both influences. I had the father that got up and worked every day. I had the father that was in the streets. Learned something from both of them, you know what I mean? I took part of what not to do as a father from my pops being in the streets, not being around, the disappointment of promises that was made and those type of things you go through. My pops that was in the crib, I learned getting up, going to work every day, work for what you believe in, work for what you want, the things you want. Nobody can take them from you if you work for them, and how just having that positive male role model in the home versus my pops that was in the streets, you know what I mean? So I had both influences growing up, and pretty much molded those together to become the type of father that I ended up becoming, which was more hands-on dad in the home, doing what I do, like, you know what I mean?
Like just getting multiple different perspectives on being a black father, and then hearing from these gentlemen on their thoughts and then their upbringing, how their father or, father figures shape their thought patterns and processes on just being a black dad. For me, I see that as a black father, as someone that's super involved in my children's lives, I see that. I see the different dynamics that shape me. And we'll get into that more later. I think I want to just, let these guys talk and get more of their perspectives out. So let's move to the next part.
So when I hear the term black father, I think of family first. I just, my whole life, like I say, I'm 52. I've just seen family all around me, from all of my uncles, cousins. We just get together just because we get together, not because it's a death in the family. So family first, work, pride, Christianity, you name it, man. I've saw the whole venture from A to Z when I think of a black father, being a black father.
Once again, that's two-sided. One, black fathers is, when I hear the term black fathers, I see on one side, the first word, honestly, is underappreciated. Honestly, a lot of the times, we don't get the credit of being there or trying to be there. We are disenfranchised. Even in the courtrooms, it's against us more than being for us. So when I hear the term black father, I hear that. But also when I hear black father, I hear, once again, responsibility. I hear, my responsibility to this kid, to teach him how to be a black man in this world that is currently, as we see, against black men. So, black men are public enemy number one, black women are public enemy number two. So, with us being public enemy number one, you said public enemy number one, black women, public enemy number one, black men, public enemy number two, black women. So with us being public enemy number one, you look at it like, I gotta teach my kid how to navigate as a black man. Who else to teach them? The mothers can't teach them that. I have to teach them that. So when I hear that, that's what I hear. That's real.
What I think is, what do I think when I hear the term black fathers? I think it's definitely not the narrative that the world want us to think when we hear that. You know what I mean? The world try to perpetuate that black fathers is non-existent. We not around. All our kids on welfare. This, that, and the third. But that's not what I see. Like, all my homeboys is good black fathers. Like, I don't mess with dudes who don't take care of their kids. Because I look at it as, if you could sleep well at night and live life every day without knowing whether your child, your flesh and blood is taken care of, fed, walking around with holes in their shoes, in a loving environment, if that's not your main goal, if you can go through life every day and sleep good at night, not caring about that, you can't be my man. Because if we ever get in felt clutch circumstances, I'm not 100% sure that you're gonna be there for me. If you can do that and not even care about your own kid, I'm nothing. Like, you know what I mean? So everybody I rock with take care of their kids. I don't mess with dudes who don't take care of their kids. So a black father, when I think about the word black father, or whatever the question was, I forgot what the question was, but yeah, that's what I think of.
As soon as I hear the term black father, I think I think about my father, first of all. After I think about my father, because of course, excuse me, that's the easy one, as it comes right to mind. I start thinking about the job that I do. I work in the school system doing behavior assistance, right? Outside of being a music artist, I know the children who have fathers in their lives and those who don't. I think of myself as being part of their village and being a black father to them, because the majority of the ones who I have to work with, if we're being honest, look like me. They're black children, You know what I'm saying? Male and female. You know, not that that's all I work with, but the majority of them, that's what they, you know, that's what the demographic is. So when I think, or again, back to the question, when I think of the term, or when I hear the term Black father, I think of all the things that it takes to carry that title. That is a prestigious title to have. Not everybody's able to do that. And there's some generations that came before us that it wasn't even their fault, or wasn't totally their fault that they weren't or couldn't carry the term as a Black father, couldn't carry the title as a Black father. Different things happen, you know, 80s happened, 70s, 60s, you know what I'm saying? This happened, that happened, you know, and if you go back even further, you know, you go to the plantation days, of course, there's a lot of things that hindered a person being able to carry the title of a Black father. So ultimately, Black father it's a prestigious title to have and carry, and it should be respected as such because of the responsibility, and because not because it's rare in a bad way, but throughout our history, it does have rare characteristics. So that's why are Black fathers important? Back to, you know, I feel like I'm repeating myself a little bit, but it's okay because it all goes together. Start on the plantation, okay? And I'm just gonna start on the plantation, not that that's where our history starts, okay? Let's make that clear. Where you would marry your wife on that plantation, right? Or you might have married your wife before you got to the plantation, and you were lucky enough to be on the same plantation, be bought by the same, I didn't even say lucky enough, but you're fortunate enough to be on the same grounds as your wife. And then you were able to have children. Well, there were evil doings that would strip that apart, right? Would remove, specifically the Black father, they wouldn't remove the mother. In most instances, they would remove the father and send him somewhere else, tie him up, beat him up. You have him working over here. That's one instance. You have our eras of the 60s, 70s, 80s, right? Drugs, you know, incarceration, things like that, that removed Black fathers away from our families and our children. And now you have today, where a kid that was born in 1985 and was able to see the crack epidemic and things like that at a young age, would also see the 90s and mass incarceration, and then see the 2000s and the 2010s and see, okay, those people over there that make the mistakes, they don't get a chance to be a part of this special thing called fatherhood. They don't get to wear that prestigious title. I want to wear that prestigious title. It's important. It is so important to wear that prestigious title. And then once you wear the title, you got to fall under all the responsibility that's under it, right? You have to fall straight with it. You have to show up for everything that you can show up for. You know, be it sports, be it spelling bees, be it, you know, your son's being suspended, so you got to show up to the office. Like, these are things that fathers are better at dealing with than mothers. Now, with all due respect, mothers are better than a lot of things than we are. But when it comes to those specific things, especially authority and putting our foot down and making sure things happen the way that they're supposed to be happening, it's a father's job, man. And that's what makes it so important.
I wanted to say that. I didn't want to say it wrong. But the reason why black fathers are important right now, especially right now, it's like what I say in all my songs. Like, you know, you say you give 30 years and leave Black single mothers to raise the children. That's part of the system's oppression process. You know, that's part of it. That we are more important now than ever, especially with all the cultural events that's going on, with all the different, you know, I'm not even going to mention all the names because it's so fucking many to mention. But right now, we're more important to that movement to change the narrative right now more than ever. We don't have to be what we were 20 years ago. We don't have to fall into the stereotypes. We're important because Like, these kids right now are walking around here shooting each other for the fuck of it just because they don't have nobody to tell them they shouldn't be doing it. And that's the problem. You know, being a father is not just being a father to your kids. Being a father is being a father to any kid you see around you. I mean, sometimes these kids need that, and these kids don't have it. I didn't have it. I mean, so especially now, like in Atlanta and Chicago, like those kids need fathers, and those fathers should, if they are fathers, they're teaching their kids something wrong, because we should not be hurting each other the way we're doing right now. And that's why fathers are important, because with a father with a proper strict environment, with a proper strict, you know, household, or with the abilities to, you know, to convey lessons and understanding, children are not going to be led astray. It's just a matter of somebody taking the time to listen to them.
Why are black fathers important? Black fathers are important because we the glue that hold the family together, man. We the head of the household, supposedly. You can't have a positive household without a black father in it, man. It's just not gonna work, right? And I mean, when my kids was born, I learned a couple things, man. When my daughter was born, I held her for the first time, and I looked at her like, yo, this is a life that I'm responsible for her eating, her growing, her learning, like every part, just surviving is based on me, you know what I mean? So when I looked at my daughters, I felt nervous, you know what I mean? Because I knew I had to, no matter what happens, my main goal was to make it home at night, make sure this little girl is all right, you know what I mean? I felt nervousness. When I had my son, it was funny. I looked at him expecting to feel the same nervous, but I didn't. I felt fear. You know what I mean? Just looking at a black son now, like, it's a whole different scenario than my daughter. You know what I mean? I knew I had to be a different type of person to make sure he come up right. You know what I mean? And that was a big difference that I didn't expect to happen, but it all ties into having a father being in the household, because sons raised without their fathers, they going to the streets, you know what I mean? Daughters raised without their fathers, they gonna find a father figure in them niggas they meet in the streets, you know what I mean? A father is the first person that a daughter gonna ever fall in love with, the first man that the daughter's gonna ever fall in love with. So the way that you interact with her is gonna dictate what she accepts as love later on, you know what I mean? So if you're the type of father that ain't around, come around every now and then, disappoint her every time, make promises that you don't keep, and you think that's all right for your daughter? When she grow up, that's gonna be what she accept from these niggas in the streets, is being loved. And if you all right with that, go ahead and keep doing what you're doing.
I would say the advice that I would give future black fathers: God first, family, everything else will fall into place. Trust God, don't put your trust in man, and lead by example. Be hands-on, because if you're not, today, the internet, the streets, it'll consume your kids. You have to be hands-on, you have to be involved. Just as a black man as yourself today, you got your kid over here with you, learning, lead by example. You know, we have to be hands-on more than ever, because these computers will lock your kids up for hours. These video games, they'll lock your kids up for hours. You have to be hands-on, whether it's taking them to sports, sitting down. I know it's hard today to have a meal. When I was coming up, like I said, I'm a little older, at 52, you know, mom would make the meals. We all sat at the table, and we learned from each other. I had 3 older brothers, and we talked about what was going on. My mom and my dad was hands-on. Hey, what's going on? You know, what's going on in school? What's going on in life? You got a little girlfriend or whatever it may be. So, you know, you have to be hands-on today, even more, because it's so easy to get involved in anything. Streets, gangs, drugs, everything, sex, it's all out there. Anywhere you move, you turn on the TV, you can see it. So I would say just be hands-on, put God first, family, 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 family. Make that money, provide, be a strong provider, love your kids, hug them.
What advice would I give future Black fathers? This is an easy question for me because as a mentor in high school, there's some former students of mine that have graduated now and who are Black fathers. I just tell them always be there for the child. No matter what happens in your relationship with the mother. Yeah, it's a group of kids that are now they're now rappers as well too, which, I try to give them good advice on that as well. But it's a group of them, and I name them Shamir, Shahada, Samaj, just to name 3. They all became fathers this year, and Shamir actually became a father last year. And I watch them from a distance via social media, and I see them when I'm able to see them. And they are there for their children. I don't even know about their relationship with the mother. I don't know. It's really none of my business. But I know that they're always there for their child. They post their child proudly, which again, posting in their era is something very important because if they weren't posting it, it would be something that they're hiding, that they're trying to conceal. They don't try to conceal that. They are setting a good example for their children and the kids who are still in school that are seeing them and are closer related to them than they are to me now. So the biggest advice that you can give, I think, any father, but specifically our Black fathers, is be there, be around, even when it's uncomfortable. Just always be there.
The absent Black father statement is an exaggeration. We're here. Actually, more Black fathers are here than we realize. Because you start to think about it. I know I don't know for sure the stat that's thrown out there. We talk about 80% of Black women, single Black mothers. 30-something% of those are fathered by the same men. Like, you got 30% of Black men fathering 80% of these single Black mothers. So what are the other 60+ men, 60% men doing? Like, what are they doing? So if you look up and if you really open your eyes to see, there's a lot of Black fathers out here with their kids at these functions, at football, they're here. But it all depends on where your lens is. So if your lens is, hey, you want to see all single mothers and what Black men aren't doing, that's what you want to see. But if you really want to see what we're doing, just open your eyes. Go to Walmart. You see it. Like, I go to Walmart. I see Black men with their kids. I go to these games. I got a son that plays basketball. I see Black men with their kids. I got a son that plays football. I go there. Black men are there with their kids. So when the narrative is Black men are absent, no, we're here. Black fathers are absent. We're here. You just don't want to see us. We're unseen. We're like, cast in front of ghosts.
Do I feel that the absent Black father stereotype is a fact or a fictional statement? Well, I can say this. If I fuck with you, you're raising your kids. If you're in my circle, you're raising your kids. If you need me to come to your aid whenever you need somebody to help you in a situation, it's because I know you're raising your kids. If you're absent in your kid's life, then I don't fuck with nobody who don't take care of their kids. And the reason why is because not only am I taking care of my kids, I'm taking care of somebody else's as well too, proudly, and have no problem doing it. And if I can do that with other people's kids, you can raise your fucking kids. It's just that simple. I mean, that's the problem. I mean, everybody, the absence aspect of it in this generation with video chat, with Facebook or wherever, or FaceTime, all these different avenues to where you can be in your kid's life. You can still, my son just went to boot camp in the Navy, and he's graduated last week. And from the time he got on the bus, he's a grown-ass man, 20 years old in the next month, whatever. But I'm still raising my kid. You know what I'm saying? You don't get breaks off with your kids. The absent idea, I don't think there's really a stereotype. It's just more of a metaphor. I think it's more I think it's more of a trend saying at this point. I don't see too many black men not raising their kids right now because most of us come from fatherless environments. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of us, that's our motivation in itself. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to be, in the same household to be a prime aspect of your child's life. There are some fuck niggas out here though. There's some niggas out here who ain't doing their shit, don't get me wrong. But there's a lot of people out here who really are motivated. You know what I'm saying? They're really trying to like, to change to break the cycle and create another legacy. And everybody in this room is part of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why we're here. It's like, what else we got? I mean, if you really look at your kids, you have kids, I'll leave it with this. If you have kids in your life and they're your kids and you're a grown ass person, male or female, it don't make a difference. Your kids from 0 to 18. What the fuck else are you doing from 0 to 18 in your kids' life? That is so important that you can't raise them. And that's what I'm saying. If not for them, what the fuck are you living for? So that's how I look at it. Like, you got 18 years of obligation, responsibilities, and love to give. And all that kid asks you is just to try. You know what I'm saying? So even if you don't do it the greatest, and there's gonna be sometimes you make mistakes as a father, especially, I know. Goddamn, I know. You can't stop trying.
Excuse me. The absence of a black father, is that an exaggeration or a fact? It's definitely over exaggerated. I think that we've come a long way, like I've said before. We've come a long way. We have a long way to go. But we're out here fighting to prove ourselves every day. There's so many more black businesses. There's so many more black leaders today. So I think it's definitely over exaggerated. We're out here making moves. My dad used to say all the time, either you're making something, there's 3 types of people in the world. People that make things happen, people that watch things happen, and people that wonder what happened. So you have to put yourself in those categories, and they can change at any time. But I think right now, today's black man, we're really making it happen out here.
Here's the thing about being a black father. It's not easy. About being a black man, it's not easy. Would I want to be anything else? No. But it's not easy. So when you have to fight for your kids, or you have to fight to be who you are, like I'm a black man that wears my hair a certain way, when you have to fight a stigma, understand that black men, you are great in that. The reason why you have to fight this stigma is because you are great, and they know that you are great. So understand this: stand tall, stick your chest out, be a king. Hold yourself as a king. Yes, everybody's not a king, but hold yourself as one. At least walk, stand tall. Be proud that you have these kids. Step up, be a father, be there, be present. As a black man, that's all we can do is strive to be great, man. Strive to be great. The world is not. The world might feel the world is against you, but the world can't hold us down.
Just be present, man. That's all. Like, in closing, that's all I'm gonna say, man. Fathers, be fathers. It may be a job that seems thankless, like you may not get the pat on your back, but we all know that's not what we're doing it for anyway, you know what I mean? When your son or your daughter look up and know that my dad gonna be there regardless, like my dad gonna be there whenever I need him, that's all the things you need, man. And them kids, that's where you see it at, man. And we gonna be long gone, and they gonna be here to carry on our name. So the things we instill in them is what in turn they instill in their kids. Level up, level up, level up. Like, gotta start somewhere, man. Make it start with yourself. That's it.
All right, man, that's it. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that, man. God, yo, that was super dope. All right, so it's a wrap for Lowry. I'm LaShon Jones. I am creator, director, co-executive producer of this doc. I'm a father of 3. And that's what compelled me to put this doc together. You know, I wanted to get with a couple brothers that I know, and just a couple, because I know quite a few brothers that, you know, are everything that this doc is about. And I just really wanted to touch on things that we don't see a lot of, and that's like brothers, quality brothers raising their children, or, you know, just talking about fatherhood in general. We don't talk about that often. We're not seen in that light. Now, I'm not doing this just for, you know, what they say now, clout or anything of that nature. It's really for just so people can see it. It's just another dynamic for everyone to see and understand and process as we go through everything that we go through in this world. You know, and Black fathers are so important in the household. And I mean, even for myself, I've gone through so much when it comes to just being a dad, you know, learning, understanding, you know, everything that you could think of in that retrospect. It's just everything's a process. You know, I talk about my boys. You know, I have a 11-year-old and a 6-year-old, but then I also talk about my 22-year-old. Like, my 22-year-old raised me pretty much. Like, you know, I had a lot of pitfalls with that, a lot of miscommunications and things of that nature. But to know where we are today is just great, man. And that's the thing about fatherhood, man. It's like, everything is not going to be all peachy. Everything is not going to be all, you know, just gold and glitter and all that stuff. There's going to be some hard times. There's going to be some times where you try to figure out, but you can't give up. You can't give up. And you got to lean on like-minded individuals, other fathers where you can get information from. Like, these gentlemen on this doc are fathers that I've reached out to or watch how they move with their children. And these brothers are in every spectrum of age and maturity levels and professional levels and even growth with their children, you know. Like, I personally hope you all got a lot from this, or just enough where you understand that we are needed within the household. You know, I like to think my son helped out with this doc. He's a producer on this doc. He helped out a lot with this documentary. So I like to thank my son, DeShon Jones, for, you know, just helping his dad out. And he wanted to help out. He asked me to be a part of it because he know what I do. I like to thank my guy, Levar, Moody, for executive producing this with me. I like to thank all the brothers that was a part of the doc. Adrain, Gerren, Lonique, Rise. Like, thank you guys for just, you know, taking your time out with me and just talking about your experiences as you became a father. I just like to thank everyone that's really out here. This is not a gig for Father's Day. This is an everyday thing, an everyday process. I know for me, man, I love when I see my kids smile and happy to see me, or my daughter FaceTime me, or my oldest son FaceTime me, or even my youngest son when he see me run into the car when I pick him up from school, things like that. Like, this is what this is for. And it's just a better depiction of what fathers really are out here, Black fathers. That's all I know. I'm a Black man, you know, an unapologetic Black man. All I know is that. So I just know how to be a Black father. So I hope you all enjoyed this documentary. Thank you all for tuning in. And I appreciate you. And until I create something else, so stay tuned.